Discussing some NHL trade rumors for some trades that we may see go down at the draft. Some of these teams are teams that hold a lot of draft picks and may try to make some moves. We're discussing the Edmonton Oilers, the Montreal Canadiens, and the New York Rangers. And that's coming up next. Welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. As I mentioned off the top, today we're discussing some trades that we might see go down at the NHL Draft this summer. Some of the teams we're talking about have a lot of picks and may try to use those to package them up together to either move up in the draft or to make a big trade to obtain a player that can help their team right now. So before we jump into what those deals might be, first I have a couple quick reminders. For anybody who's new or hasn't had a chance to do so already, we have a contest going on right now for the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, as well as a new logo design contest. Once we pass the 1,000 subscriber mark, we put up a video opening that contest. That contest will only be open for a short time left here, so if you haven't done so already, go over and watch that 1,000 subscriber video. It's linked down below in the description. If you're a creative person and want to design a new logo for us and enter that contest as well, that video also explains all the details on how you enter to go ahead and do that. So if you haven't done so already, check that out. It's down below in the description. So now jumping into today's content is some trades that we might see go down to NHL Draft. So a couple of teams to really keep your eyes on, I think. One is the New York Rangers, and the other one, big one for me, is the Montreal Canadiens. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if either of these teams might potentially try to deal with the Edmonton Oilers, which kind of brings them in as the third team here to discuss. Now, if you take a look at some of these teams, like the New York Rangers, let's start with them. They have the most picks here. They have 7 picks in the first 3 rounds. They have their own first round pick, which is the number 9 overall selection. Then they have the first round pick of the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning. So obviously, since they're still going into playoffs, we don't know exactly where they're going to fall. It's probably obviously going to be, one of them will be knocked out here in the second round, but they're either way, they're going to be further down the first round, probably into the 20-something or others. Obviously, one of them is going to be going on to the Eastern Conference Finals here. So hard to say exactly where those numbers are going to be, but either way, they've got 3 first-round picks. They've got 3 first-round picks and 7 in total in the first 3 rounds. So there's certainly lots to play with there. Obviously, they're not going to trade them all away, but it's, it wouldn't be a complete shocker if they try to use that number 9 pick and maybe one of the other picks that are lower in the first round and move up higher in that first round if they at all possibly can. Obviously, as we know, the Rangers are going through a rebuild. They're fully expected to make some other deals this summer. One name that comes to mind as well that they hadn't traded at the deadline, that they could see moved this summer, is Matt Zuccarello. So could they possibly package Zuccarello up with one of these picks as well and either try to move up in the draft or maybe to swing and trade for a top defender or somebody else that they need to help their team right now? Certainly a possibility. The Rangers have a lot of picks here, and I fully suspect them to put them to good use, not only by picking some players for their future, but using them to acquire some talent that they can jump into their lineup right away. So certainly leave some comments down below. What do you think the Rangers are going to do? Do you see them putting all these picks to good use to try to acquire some assets for right now? Or do you see them using them all to stockpile the cupboards for the future here? Either way, they're in good shape at the draft. There's lots of action around the Rangers, whether or not they draft players or make deals. But I fully suspect them to see some deals go down with the Rangers at the draft this summer. Speaking of the Edmonton Oilers, obviously they didn't have a chance to win the lottery this year, which I know made a lot of non-Oiler fans will say happy since they've had so many turns to the first overall selection. They're going to be picking number 10 this year. So with the 10th overall pick, and like we discussed in yesterday's video, that's a pick that they may be interested in moving. Obviously, it's not as high as they were hoping for, and obviously they will probably still get a good player at that selection if they keep it, but it may not be a player who can help them right away. So they may be able to possibly move that pick for a player who can jump in right away. So not to say that they will definitely move that pick, but it's certainly a possibility for sure. So if you get the Oilers, especially where they obviously have some deals that they need to try to do this summer to get better. Last year, for example, there were some rumblings that maybe them and the Montreal Canadiens may be interested in swinging a deal. I know Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' name came up a lot, and I know I've seen Peter Chiarelli go on record to deny the fact that he wanted to trade him. But to be completely honest, it's something that would not surprise me this summer. I mean, really, if you take a look at their situation, I'm not sure that he's really the right winger for Connor McDavid, and he's too expensive for a third-line center. So a team like Montreal could certainly use a top center. He could get a lot more playing time, bigger role, might be able to get back somewhat closer at least to what he did in his rookie year, which has been his best season so far in the NHL. So not to say that that's going to happen, but I think the Oilers are definitely interested in moving that number 10 pick if it'll bring them an asset that they can put in their lineup right away. Now, speaking of the Oilers, they did have another transaction here to discuss. They signed a goaltender out of the KHL. Goalie's name is Mikko Koskinen. He's been playing with SKA St. Petersburg in the KHL for the last 4 years. He was in the KHL before that as well with another team. Put up some fantastic numbers. Just to give you a quick idea, he was 29 years old, from Finland. Finland has developed a lot of great goalies over the years. He was drafted into the NHL back in 2009, but has never come over to play. To give you an idea of what he did this year, though, he played in 29 regular season games with SKA with a 1.57 goals against average and a .937 save percentage. He also appeared in 15 playoff games with a 1.62 goals against and a .935 save percentage. So those numbers obviously are fantastic. So I fully suspect that he's going to come over, more than likely be the backup goalie for the Oilers, and he might just be good enough to actually challenge Cam Talbot for a little bit more ice time. Obviously, Talbot didn't have the greatest year this past season. We're certainly looking for him to bounce back in order for the Oilers to be better and have a chance next year, but maybe they have a goalie now that can jump in and maybe challenge him for some a lot of ice time. We'll see how he transitions to the NHL game. Obviously, SKA St. Petersburg was a stacked team in the KHL, so it certainly helps with those numbers a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's still going to stop the puck. He still has to do his job, and it's a player that certainly has performed quite well. So I think that's a very good acquisition for the Oilers. So leave some comments down below. What do you think of this goalie? Do you think he's going to be having much of an impact on the Oilers? And do you see him possibly challenging Cam Talbot, maybe getting some more ice time this coming season? Now, the other team I want to discuss here last is the Montreal Canadiens. I've seen a report on the Montreal Gazette indicating that maybe, just maybe, Marc Bergevin should take that number 3 overall pick that they were so lucky to get at the NHL Draft lottery, and maybe they should trade it to help them obtain a top center iceman. Or better yet, maybe they should package that pick up with Max Pacioretty and go after a top center iceman. Well, in theory, it might sound great, but really, if you look at what you're getting in Max Pacioretty, that number 3 pick as well is going to be a fantastic player. At least sure looks like he's going to be. That's a big price to pay for a top center. And really, the only thing that they didn't speculate on was who's that center going to be. There really isn't any big name centers that are on the trade block. Obviously, John Tavares is a possibility who could hit free agency, but that's, they're going to try to sign him if possible. Obviously, I mean, there's going to be lots of teams trying to bid for Tavares should he make it that far into free agency, which looks like he will. But either way, I'm not really sure who they would go after. Personally, when I've seen that speculation, that's something I really don't think is a wise idea. Yes, they may still trade Max Pacioretty. That's a whole separate beast, and it's a whole thing that maybe that they really should do to give the team and Max a fresh start. And maybe Max could be involved with obtaining, bringing back a top center iceman. That probably would be a wise move. But at the same time, I really don't think they should trade that number 3 selection. They're bound to get a top player, whether it's Svechnikov, Zadina, or Brady Tkachuk. Now, the only thing is none of them are really centers. Tkachuk is listed as a center and a left winger, but this past season at Boston University, he was primarily a winger. So the indications are he more than likely will be a power forward type winger at the NHL level. Could they groom him to be a center iceman? It's certainly a possibility. But he's not, definitely going to be that. So if they were to go for a player like Tkachuk at the draft, which I think in a lot of ways would be a great help to their team, it's just not going to really give them that top center iceman that they need. But by having Tkachuk in the lineup, should they select him, as well as, Galchenyuk, Drouin, etc., Max Pacioretty maybe could be expendable here. And for a variety of other reasons after the year they went through, I think you might want a fresh start. But to be honest, I really don't think they should move that number 3 pick. And a speculation that I saw in the Gazette indicating that maybe they should do that, I don't know. I mean, not to say there's anything to it. I think it was just the writer's opinion. But I really don't think they should move that pick. The top end of this draft is just too good to be trading up. You'd have to get one heck of a return to be considered for trading that. But at the same time, like I said, is Pacioretty a possibility? Absolutely. But should they package up Pacioretty and that pick to try to go after a top center? I certainly wouldn't do it unless there was a big name player that would really bring in a big haul back, and I just don't see that being out there on the market right now for what they're looking for. So to me, that doesn't make much sense, but I just want to address that rumor in case you've seen it. So I fully suspect Montreal hopefully will do the smart thing for their organization and hold on to that pick. If you haven't done so already, I hope you consider subscribing to our channel. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all fan bases to enjoy. Make sure you leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think of what's going to go down here at the NHL Draft. This is going to be one of those drafts, I think, on the first round, when everything's going down, there's going to be a lot of activity, trading possibly with draft picks and players as well. So stay tuned for the draft. Should be a fun time. If you haven't done so already, check us out on Twitter. You're going to find our Twitter handle on the screen right here. It's linked down below in the description. We love engaging in fun conversation on Twitter with a lot of our viewers and subscribers, so check that out. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.